Viva Las Vegas, I want outrageous sexual ecstasy. Come on, girls, and meet the Elvis in me.
I knew I wanted to develop a new musical that was conceived, commissioned, and developed by City Theater, and I hoped it could be a rock musical because Hedwig has a rock score and it was really successful with our audiences. So our literary manager, Carlin Aquiline, acquired a great number of scripts and CDs for me to read and listen to try to find the next great Hedwig. And I went through pile after pile every weekend, reading scripts, listening to CDs, and the very last CD that I put in my CD player was George Griggs' piece, which at the time was called Heat Lightning. And it was genuine rock and roll, and after the first song I knew this was the piece I was looking for. It was originally to be a song cycle. George hadn't really written a book with it, and so I got on the phone with George the next day after I heard the music and said, I love your music. How can we make this into a full evening of theater? Would you like to work with a playwright?
And I definitely, without hesitation, said, I want a playwright. I do not want to write the book. And so they sent me scripts, of which I perused.
And so I hooked him up with a fantastic, very known theater playwright named Dara Cloud, who had written a number of plays, but also had written some very successful musicals.
I got the CD in the mail, and where I live, I have to drive everywhere, so I stuck it in the car and drove for hours listening to the same 8 songs over and over again, because I just loved them.
Mother thought I was a slacker, now I'm like a firecracker.
We met in a town called Cold Spring. She lives about an hour and a half from me, 2 hours from my home. So we met in the middle. You know, we get along really well. She's very, very smart. You know, she's a very, very smart playwright.
I'm a lover, not a fighter, ma'am.
Where did you get that?
I ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Oh, that is so hot.
Viva Las Vegas.
Oh, Steve.
I had studied poetry at the University of Iowa at the Writers' Workshop a long time ago, and I loved writing poetry, and I had taken that concept and sort of expanded it to include playwriting and character.
I would start my own bands because pretty much nobody else, I figured, would sing my songs except me. I was getting really creatively tired of writing songs like just a 2-3 minute, even 5-minute song, whatever, and I was always intrigued by Tommy and Jesus Christ Superstar and the albums of Ray Davies, which were very conceptual at this point.
This dog has had his days.
One of the wonderful things I think about George Griggs, the composer-lyricist, is that George's roots are really in rock and roll, that I think gives the music in this show a freshness that a lot of rock music and other musicals that use the genre doesn't have. But at the same time, he's a very talented lyricist. You know, he's able to talk to Dara, the playwright, find out what the song needs to accomplish, and address that with the lyric.
There's no one else for me. I'm falling endlessly.
In this piece, though, I purposely wanted the music to evolve from sort of this suburban pop rock, you know, like the first song we do is Ordinary Life.
I got a job, an office with a view. Suburban home, a gas grill, barbecue.
And I wanted it to sound kind of square and funny, you know, and very suburban imagery. Gas grill, barbecue, snowblower, lawnmower. And I wanted his musical journey, his musical arc to be from suburban pop to, you know, a more primal, rootsy rock and roll.
Lay on the road to Brianna. Should I turn away right now and just go home?
The opening number is really an Elvis number, and we kind of selected particular moves from, signature moves from Elvis Presley. And Elvis Presley didn't really dance, he kind of gyrated around. And we have an incredible choreographer, Danny Herman, who's really found different kinds of movement that go with the different genres of rock that George Griggs has put in the show. So we found this way of turning the Elvis moves into dance.
The core of the story is how music, and in particular how rock and roll, saves the life of our main character, whose name is Steve. It's about now. It's about struggling through what comes at you in this information, materialistic, riddled world.
I sweep the garage and then I water the lawn. I read the Wall Street Journal. I drive a sedan. I gulp a double venti, eat my quota of bran, 'cause I'm a real man.
There's a real story, there's real characters, and it's going to connect with the audience, and they're going to connect with that. And that's where I look to the future of the American musical that jazzes me.
Just watch me rock my world. I'm gonna rock my world.
Music covers the emotional bases so well, and it is so evocative, and theater is supposed to evoke feelings and thoughts and images. So it's yet another really excellent tool in playwriting. And now I find it very hard to even think of a play without music.
I'm like, wow, a lot goes into writing a play. I mean, you really gotta, it's like, if you pull one block out, the whole thing can come tumbling down. I am learning, so I speak to my wife every night on the phone. And I'm like, you wouldn't believe what I learned today just from watching and listening. So I get excited just, right now at this second, I'm excited just thinking of what I learned.
There are a number of challenges that go with directing and developing a brand new musical as opposed to a play. But I think the results will ultimately be worth it, and I hope that this piece actually has really good legs to move elsewhere, because it is a 4-person, 3-piece band pop rock musical, and I think other theaters around the country would be eager to put it in their seasons. So I think that Pittsburgh is just the beginning of the life of this piece.